Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zack, and today I am driving the 2025 Polestar 3 Performance. Below me are two electric motors powering this all-new electric vehicle from the brand Polestar. Now, I am super excited to be driving this car here today because I have not featured a Polestar vehicle on the channel before. I've done Polestar engineered vehicles, and we'll get into that later on, but not an official Polestar. And so today we get to finally sink our teeth into Sweden's hot EV that makes over 500 horsepower. But if you'd like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. And if you'd like to see all my videos weeks or sometimes months in advance, you can head on over to my Patreon for only $5 a month. But let's get back to that all-electric drivetrain. Well, this is the performance model, which bumps the horsepower from 489 to 517. This is absolutely no slouch. Now, the standard Polestar 3 does come with a dual motor, so it is also all-wheel drive. This just makes a little bit more power. So how does the Polestar 3 drive? It drives great. It is incredibly fast, and there's a lot of different settings that you can do. It does have different suspension firmnesses, as well as different steering feels. Now, I personally feel that the firmest steering feel isn't even really that firm. I wish that there was like a hardcore one above it, but the suspension is nice. You can firm it up or loosen it up for whatever kind of driving you're planning on doing. You can put it into power mode or non-power mode, and it is an absolute blast in a straight line. It also handles corners pretty well. You can also turn the traction control into sport mode, which will let you play and have a little bit of back end step out and a little bit of oversteer, a little bit of understeer, things like that. It is a very entertaining drive. Visibility is also good. Suspension, like I said, it's adaptable, so if you want it to ride like garbage, you can, but if you want it to ride very smooth, you can do that as well. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I do have a tiny little gauge cluster. It's giving me all the essentials. I like that it even has one. Some Volvos are taking away the gauge cluster, like the EX30, so I like seeing it here. On the steering wheel, we do have unlabeled buttons. So it appears as though the buttons on the left don't do anything. I can't get the car to tell me anything that it's doing. But over on the right, I have voice commands as well as my map options, and I can switch around my gauge cluster. Off to the left, we do have a climate vent, and on the door, we have our latch to get in and out, and then our window switches. There are only two window switches because you have to hit a different button in order to access the rear windows. The EX30 and EX90 also have the same design, and I think it is very bad. Moving into the center, we do have our Bowers & Wilkins sound system. This is one of the crown jewels of not only this car, but a lot of Volvos come with this optional sound system. I firmly believe it is my favorite in the industry. It is absolutely wonderful. It will rock your fillings out of your head if you turn the bass all the way up, and I always do. But then we have our infotainment display. This runs absolutely everything through the car, whether it be your drive modes and suspension settings, your climate controls, your trip odometer, your music, your entertainment, your navigation, everything is ran through this one center screen. And it's okay. I'm getting more used to it with Volvo products. It was a little bit laggy when I got in the car this morning. However, it's fine. It's just very complicated. And I'm a full-time car reviewer, and I still struggle to find certain things in here, so I can't imagine someone who's only driven a handful of vehicles in their life having to navigate their way through this. I think it is somewhat poor design, and I don't like that I have to rely on it so heavily. However, one big benefit is that it does have wireless Apple CarPlay, of which some Volvos, even up above $80,000, don't have. Down below, we do have two USB-Cs and a big cubby, as well as we have a wireless charger up at the top, our volume knob, and off to the right, we do have openable cup holders, which do in fact pass the big friggin' model test. The Polestar 3 and Polestar 4 both pass, but the Polestar 2 does not. Then we do get a center console and the seats. The seats are a $5,500 ventilated option that also has massaging built in, We have a couple different speeds, intensities, and programs in which you can run. And for the performance, it does get the gold seatbelts, which I think are an absolutely lovely touch and do help make you feel a little special. The seats also say Polestar 3 on them, as well as they're 100% trace leather, their CO2 number, animal welfare secured, so they are vegan leather. It seems a little performative, but cool to see that on the seats, and we'll talk a lot about that with the exterior. But speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. All right, we're in the back of the Polestar 3, and a couple of things to note. First of all, we do have heated seats as well as our own climate controls. We have our own climate vents and USB-Cs back here. Very nice to see. I fit back here very, very well. 5'11", not a small guy. My head is not hitting the ceiling. My knees are not hitting the seat in front of me. I like all of that. The gold seat belts carry on back here. These seats also say their CO2 efficiency and whatnot. I do get a center console, which is actually very, very squishy, very cushiony, and we do have cup holders that pop out. So very nice to see all of that. Overall, this is actually a really nice place to be, and I would kind of prefer to be back here than up there because I get my own window switches and lights and I get to enjoy the moonroof. It's actually quite great back here. I like this a lot. Let's hop into the very back. We'll take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, around the back of the Polestar 3. So there's a button down up above the license plate, which I think is way too low for a lot of people. But once we are back here, we have a couple of things. We do have a 12-volt outlet. We can raise and lower the vehicle to help get things in and out. We have this little storage cubby. We could pick this up, and we actually do have a fair amount of underfloor storage. Not always found in EVs because this is normally where the battery lives. So very, very cool to get all of that added storage. Honestly, I would say this is adequate for this caliber of car. I think this is a little underperforming in terms of size when coming to a $93,000 car, but for the segment this is filling, it's fine. It's on brand. You're going to be able to fit all of your stuff in there, and then you could close it or close it and lock it. It is nice, smooth, calm, and quiet. Up front, we do have a frunk. However, it's really just for the charging cable and whatnot. At least you get something. I mean, it is nice that you get something over anything. This is like a magnetic, almost like iPad kind of case or, you know, cover, which is very, very nice. But there you go. Enough to hold the charging cable and nothing more. Close it down like that. There you go. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I actually really like the look of the Polestar 3. It doesn't look 100% like its Volvo siblings, which I like quite a bit. It does have its own unique flair. It has that front air dam, which I find to be incredibly unique and interesting. I like the big wheels. I like the gold valve stem caps, again, part of the performance package with that one. And it still has a rear window, which not all the Polestar vehicles currently have, which is nice to see. And we do get our battery pack and information as a sticker on the door. Not really too sure about this. I don't know why you would want that or need that. But here it is. So, you know, in case you're wondering about the specs, you can always get out at a bus stop and take a look at your door. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving the Polestar 3, my first Polestar experience? Well, driving this vehicle has been top-notch. It's fast, it's fun, it's luxurious, and it does everything that I would want a modern EV to do. It has about 300 miles of range, makes over 500 horsepower, looks good, great sound system. All those boxes are checked. So then why don't I recommend this vehicle? Well, there's a couple of reasons. First of all, the price tag. $93,000. $93,100 if you want to get specific. With tax, title, and fee, you're staring down the barrel of a six-figure automobile. And this, it doesn't feel like a six-figure automobile. This really feels like a Volvo EX30 that had a Red Bull Energy to start its day. That's what this feels like. It feels like an EX30 that went to the gym. And the EX30 is a fine car, but it's $50,000. This, for almost $100,000, this is not worth double the EX30. I had just as much fun driving the EX30 as I did the Polestar 3. And I think it should be a little bit edgier than that for twice the price. I also don't really know who this car is for. I mean, Polestar sold 15,000 units in the US last year, so someone's buying them, but I'm not really sure what market they're trying to fill. As a performance EV, pretty much all EVs accelerate and drive the same. If I floored it in this, and floored it in the EX30, and floored it in the Ioniq 5N, and floored it in the Kia EV6 GT, and floored it in the Mustang Mach-E GT, and floored it in the Tesla Model S, and floored it in the Tesla Model 3, and floored it in the Tesla Model Y, and floored it in the Tesla Model X, I would feel the same sensation in every single vehicle. There's no build to it, there's no momentum, it's instant torque, it throws you back, and it's fun, but it's not different. I don't know what's so different about this car. And then you have the labeling of it. Why do I need the battery capacity put on my door? Why do I need the CO2 efficiency labeled on my seats? It feels very performative. It feels very look at me. And then we get into the nitty-gritty of it, using it as an actual car. Why don't I have rear window switches? Why are my climate controls laggy? Why don't I have a physical key? What was wrong with a physical key? I like physical keys. This card is annoying to carry around. And so is this car cool? Yes. It's a cool car, and I was very excited to get behind the wheel for the first time. But could I recommend spending nearly $100,000 on it? No. If you really, really want this experience, go drive the EX30. Save yourself $50,000. If you really want to get rid of the money, buy the EX30 and give me the other 50 grand. I'll figure out something to do with it, and you'll have a similar experience. If one of these showed up in my garage free of charge, of course I would be happy about it. But when the vehicle starts to cost close to a CEO's salary, I don't know about that. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Polestar for letting me borrow their Polestar 3 for the last couple days. Huge thank you to Drive Shop for facilitating the cleaning and delivery of this vehicle. And of course, the Midwest Automotive Media Association. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.